From the land of 10,000 lakes and just as many heartaches, welcome to the 301 Show. We're here to celebrate, commiserate, and maybe, just maybe, see a Minnesota team win it all. Whether you're dreaming of a Vikings Super Bowl, reliving the glory days of the Twins, or still recovering from the Timberwolves roller coaster, we've got you covered. This is the 301 Show, where the North remembers and the passion never fades.
Yes, welcome into episode 42 of the 301 Show. We've got a great one on tap today. We've got some managerial candidate updates from the Twins. We've got the Wild actually performing well in an area they struggled with last year, but are struggling in an area that they performed well in last year. So those two things and a bunch more here on episode 42 of the 301 Show. If you do like this episode, please leave a like on it. That tells YouTube that it is a good video. Also subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. So let's get into all of that and more here on episode 42. All right, yes, moving now on to Target Field Talkers. We'll get into the managerial search to replace Rocco Baldelli. We got a couple predictions about that too. There was a report that came out about who the Twins have interest in interviewing, and there's 5 names on this list, and those 5 names: James Rosen, Yankees hitting coach; Ramon Vasquez, it's the Red Sox bench coach; Vance Wilson, who's the Royals third base coach; Nick Punto, former Twins player; and Derek Shelton, who's the former Pirates manager. He was also Rocco Baldelli's bench coach back in 2018 and 2019, and then he got hired to be the Pirates manager. Now, part of me wants to just say that Derek Shelton shouldn't be hired because of the Pirates aspect of it. But I think that, like, first of all, there's not many managers that are going to do well with a, arguably the best pitcher in the game, but that's about it. Like, the Pirates have Paul Skeens and nobody else, and their front office just isn't giving them enough support. Or isn't giving that coaching staff and managerial staff enough support. So I don't think that should disqualify Derek Shelton by itself. Him being the Pirates manager, he got fired earlier this season during the 2025 season. So I don't think him being the Pirates manager and the Pirates not having success should be the reason you don't hire him. Now, part of me wants to not hire him because he used to be on Rocco Baldelli's staff, and I feel like we're just going to do that again. And I want someone to be the manager on this team that would actually push back against Derek Falvey and push back against the front office and not just be a yes man and not just go along with everything that they're saying. And if Derek Shelton is that, then hire Derek Shelton. But because he comes from the Rocco kind of coaching tree, I guess, I'm a little bit hesitant because of that to hire him. I also just, at this point, I don't trust this Twins front office to make the right decision on that. I don't. I don't know. I don't know who is going to actually be able to, I think they're going to look for a yes man. I think they're going to look for someone who is just there to put the lineup in the way they want it. It's basically not a Ron Gardenhire, not a guy that is going to do his things his way because he actually thinks they're going to win. Now, if you believe that what the front office wants is the best thing to win, then do that, obviously. But over the last, couple of years, I haven't seen that as proof. Like, I don't trust that that's what they want. I don't trust that is going to be like the reason why they go out and win. So I don't think the front office at this point has earned the trust of Twins fans to make that right decision. And I don't know who I would want as the manager, like in terms of a specific name. I can tell you some of the qualities that I want. I'd love to see a guy that was a former player. I'd love to see a guy that's bilingual and can communicate with everybody or maybe not everybody, but a lot of the guys in their native language. And I'd love to see a guy that like a Kurt Suzuki. I'd actually love to see Kurt Suzuki be the manager because he was the catcher and he actually knows how to handle a pitching staff, and he knows how to manage a game from a catching aspect of it. So I think he would actually be a fantastic manager because of that. But it sounds like that he's kind of on their extended short list here. But it sounds like they're going with one of these 5 guys in terms of like who they are going to actually reach out to first. So I don't know. That's all that to say. Basically, I just don't trust the Pohlads and their front office to make this decision. And I don't know too, like, it's not like it's the NFL. Like this, the MLB managers are a lot different because it's like, how much are they actually affecting the game? NFL head coaches are actually calling plays. So how much do MLB managers actually affect the game they affect it at least a little bit because they're the ones in charge of the lineup cards and when, to pull pitchers and stuff like that. So it's not 0%, but NFL head coaches have a large chunk of the percentage of contributions to the actual outcome of the game and outcome of the season too. And so I just don't know how much of that is on a manager either. So maybe it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But we will see. In terms of predictions, didn't have any come off the board. That means that Target Field Talker stays at 29 of 94 for 31%. So the 3 predictions coming on the board here, got 3 more. Said Derek Shelton will be the next Twins manager. I think that because he was part of that Rocco staff and he has managerial experience too, I think he is going to be the next Twins manager. Said Rocco will be a manager of a team. Will be I should say this. Rocco will be an MLB manager. He'll be a manager in Major League Baseball within the next 4 years. And then final prediction going on the board this time is Torrey Hunter will be the next Angels manager. I think Torrey Hunter, he was already on their coaching staff, and I think he loves California, and he wants to be a manager. So I think Torrey Hunter will be the next Angels manager. All right, moving on to Wolves Den now. The Timberwolves season starts this week in just a few days. They play in Portland against the Trailblazers on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Time. They play in LA against the Lakers at 9 p.m. on Friday the 24th. Then they are home against the Pacers on Sunday at 6 p.m., the 26th, and then back-to-back against the Nuggets on the 27th on Monday at 8:30 p.m. at home. So the first 4 games go 2 on the road again in Portland, in LA playing the Lakers, then 2 at home playing the Pacers and the Nuggets. Back-to-back days, Sunday and Monday. In terms, ESPN came out with a rankings list here, and we've got the NBA Cup groups sorted out here. So the NBA Cup, for those who don't know, begins on the 31st, which is does count as towards your regular season record. It's an in-season tournament. Again, it counts towards the regular season record. The winners get $500,000 each. Each player gets $500,000. The runner-up gets $200,000. Each player gets $200,000 on the runner-up. And then the 2 teams that make the semifinals but don't make it to the championship, each player gets $100,000. And the Timberwolves group is West A group. So they divide the 2 conferences up into 3 groups per conference of 5 teams. So it's West A group is the Wolves, the Thunder, the Sacramento Kings, the Phoenix Suns, and the Utah Jazz. So that is West A group, and the at least tournament begins on the 31st. So you'll see the Wolves play 4 group games, and then they will go on, or the with the best record will go on to that. So it'll be just 4 regular season games. I believe 4 regular season games against those 4 teams, just 1 against each team. And then that's how they do. They take your record against those 4 teams and move you on, if you do move on. And then the rankings that ESPN put out. The Wolves come in at number 7 with an 85% chance of making the playoffs, and they are projected 46.8 wins on the season. The teams ahead of them are the OKC Thunder in order to. OKC Thunder were ranked number 1, Denver Nuggets number 2, Cleveland Cavaliers number 3, New York Knicks number 4, Houston Rockets number 5, and the LA Clippers at number 6, and then the Wolves fall at number 7. They broke down each team into a couple different categories here, and a lot of this is what I have been, at least a couple of them have been what I have been saying. First one is biggest thing we'll talk about this season is Anthony Edwards. That one, again, I may have been saying it, but that was not that. That one was pretty obvious. So Anthony Edwards is obviously the biggest thing we'll talk about. If he takes that next step forward, he will be in MVP talks. It will be, I think in the talks at least for the MVP. May win it, but at the very least, in the talks for the MVP. Said the biggest strength. This is what I talked about literally last week in episode 41. The biggest strength is continuity. Not episode 40. This was 2 weeks ago. Biggest strength is continuity. Absolutely, continuity is their biggest strength at this point. And having, a Julius and a Dante DiVincenzo here from the beginning of training camp, and having them here all off season too, and settled in, and you're not making a massive trade. That is absolutely massive for the success of this team. They said the biggest concern for this Wolves team is the lack of playmaking, which I just haven't really talked about that a ton. But yeah, if they have the lack of playmaking, they absolutely need that for their success. So even if they get just average playmaking, I feel like they can go far. And then the final one is the bold but realistic prediction. And their bold but realistic prediction is that Mike Conley will lose his starting spot, which I can see happening. I don't know if it will happen. I could see him losing a lot of playing time, but I think they're to keep Finch, to keep him happy, is going to let him continue to start games, but reel back the time that he is on the court to give some of the younger guys more playing time. So that is what I think about that prediction. The Lynx just don't really have anything to talk about right now. The draft hasn't happened. We'll off season, they're still in that pre-draft free agency lull. So we will get into them more when more news comes out. In terms of the my predictions, not ESPN's predictions, nothing came off the board. So Wolves Den now still sits at 27 correct out of 89 total predictions for 30%. 3 going on the board here is that the Wolves beat the Lakers in the second game of the season. The Wolves go at least 3-1 in their first 4 games. And Ant will average 30 plus through the first 4 games of the regular season. So Wolves beat the Lakers in game 2 of the season. Wolves go at least 3-1. So it's either 3 wins or they will either have 3 wins or 4 wins. Basically, just they will go above 500 in the first 4 games. And final prediction is that Ant averages 30 plus points. I forgot to type that there, but it's 30 plus points through the first 4 games of the regular season. All right, now on to the Nordic Report. Some Vikings topics here to discuss. The Vikings lose to the Philadelphia Eagles. That brings their record to 3-3. They are still 1-0 in the division. The only game they have played was the season opener in Chicago. The only NFC North opponent that they have faced this year. But maybe that's a good thing, because they are now 12th, the 12th seed in the NFC. We have seedings now if the season were to end today. So 12th seed in the NFC. In the NFC North, they are in dead last in the NFC North. Again, I am recording this on Monday during the day, so the Lions still play tonight on Monday Night Football, but that will not change the Vikings rankings at all in the standings, at least. So there are 2 Monday night games tonight. So these rankings might go up and down. The averages will not change, but where they're ranked in the NFL might go up and down at this point. So take that with a grain of salt. But their offense is averaging 318.7 yards for per game, which is 20th. Their points for per game, which includes a couple of defensive touchdowns from that Cincinnati game, is averaging 24.2 points for per game, which is tied for 15th. On third down, they are 25 of 73 for 34.3%, which is 28th. On fourth down, they're 5 of 7, which is 71.4%, and that is tied for 8th. The yards against per game on the defensive side is 8th place. That is 301.7 yards against per game. That took a huge spike up from last week. Points against per game is 20.8. That's about up right around 1 point. That is tied for 10th. On third down, the defense is actually doing pretty well on third down. They are 51 of 73 for 69.9%, which is second in the NFL. On fourth down, they are 3 of 8 on fourth down, 37.5%, which is 21st, which definitely did not get helped by the fact that they were playing Philadelphia, who gets into a lot of 4th and 1s and just pushes their way to a first down. In terms of special teams, they are Will Reichert is 13 of 14. That is 92.5%, which is 6th. His only miss was in London, which I did not talk about this much last week, but in London, he hit a camera wire, and the Vikings and his representation made a submission to the league that shouldn't count. That they should make the statistical change. And the NFL acknowledged that it did hit a wire, but will not make a statistical change. That is his only miss on the year. So other teams have to hope that something outside of their power can take down Will the Thrill Reichert. His long is still the 62-yarder against the Bengals. That is third in the NFL. PATs, he's 12 for 12, still tied for first. Again, looking back at that Philadelphia game, they lose 28-22 on Sunday. This was a very, very winnable game. With how bad I think everybody except for Will Reichert played, this was still a very winnable game that they had, and they just could not pull it out. Carson Wentz was 26 of 42. Hit 313 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he fumbled. Jordan Mason had 15 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown. Will Reichert went 5 for 5. Again, his long in that game was 59 yards. Jalen Hurts was 19 of 23 for 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Saquon had 18 carries for 44 yards and 0 touchdowns. So they actually did well in the run game for once. But the pass game was awful. The pass game defense was awful. Again, A.J. Brown had 4 receptions for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devonta Smith helped my fantasy team. 9 receptions, 183 yards, and 1 touchdown. Didn't help the Vikings. So I just don't think anything went well in this game. I think you can blame every single person that played in this game or coached in this game except for Will Reichert. I think he's probably the only guy you can't blame for this loss. I thought the offensive line played okay, but that was probably the next best. Carson Wentz, again, played awful. And, like, some of those interceptions, he took a big hit on one of them, but he didn't need to make those throws. He had an intentional grounding that might have been the worst intentional grounding I've ever seen in my life. And this game, like, again, the thing the Eagles have struggled with this year on offense is their pass game. Everything that you have heard about their pass game is they need to kick it into gear. They need to get their pass game going. They'll be success. Their defense is pretty good, but their offense just has not been up to snuff. And it finally was today. And I don't know why you're single covering AJ. Yes, they have Devonta Smith on the other side, but I don't know why you're single covering AJ Brown. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand anything in that. Like, Brian Flores, I didn't think call a great game. I really didn't. Now, I will say, I think KOC needs a little bit more patience with the quarterbacks, and I'll get to that. We can get let's do the quarterback discussion right now. I think KOC needs a little bit more patience with his quarterbacks, and not in that Wentz should start another game or like he needs to start another game. Like, I don't think he does. I think he shouldn't start against the Chargers. I think that should be McCarthy, but he needs more patience with his quarterbacks because he thinks, oh, Carson Wentz has played 3 games in my system. That means he understands it. He doesn't. Either or he might, but he doesn't. He can't execute it. He doesn't have the capabilities of executing it right now. And so KOC needs more patience to change he needs to change his game plan around the offense and the quarterback that they have currently playing. I think that's the same thing with McCarthy too when he comes back. I mean, he's only played in two actual games. Two games that actually matter. One of them he was hurt for the entire fourth quarter of. So KOC needs to realize that some of these longer developing plays aren't going to work with Carson Wentz and J.J. McCarthy. I should say McCarthy right now. Hopefully they will next year or the year after that. But right now, these longer developing plays aren't going to work. He needs to change his playbook right now and then add more advanced stuff as McCarthy, learns and adjusts to the speed of the NFL. I also think the fans that are calling that say that the Vikings made a mistake not giving Sam Darnold a contract, I think they're wrong. I think the only the quarterback that I regret letting walk the most is Daniel Jones, because he's cheaper and he's giving you still great production. I regret letting Daniel Jones walk way more than I regret letting Sam Darnold walk. I also don't think it's fair to say that J.J. McCarthy is a bust right now. I don't. Could he be a bust? Yeah. I also don't think you can say he's the greatest Vikings quarterback right now. Like, you can't make a decision after he has played 2 games. And to me, the biggest critique of J.J. McCarthy is his ability to stay on the field. That is by far and away the biggest criticism of McCarthy. By far and away the biggest criticism. And I think McCarthy should absolutely be starting against the Chargers on Thursday night. Yes, it's a short week. Yes, it's his old college head coach. Yes, it's all of these things. But Carson Wentz looks so bad, and I think you're also gonna have to be like, careful what you wish for if you want Max Brosmer to play. The kid went undrafted for a reason. I do think he could have a solid NFL career as a backup quarterback, but I don't think he's going to be a starter in this league. I think J.J. McCarthy right now gives you the best chance to win, even if McCarthy's at 85%. And even if he doesn't, even if he sucks, wouldn't you rather get more data on him and learn if he actually is going to work in the NFL or not? Because a 2-game sample size isn't big enough. It's not. You cannot make a determination on a player after 2 games. And the NFL and sports in general at this point are just so instant gratification. Like, there's talks that Aaron Glenn is gonna quit or gonna get fired. He got hired this past offseason by the Jets. Now, if there's behind-the-scenes stuff that we don't know about, yeah, maybe he should get fired. But you can't tell me that he deserves to be fired or McCarthy deserves to be moved on from if just after the small sample size at this point. McCarthy especially, because he's only played the 2 games. At least Aaron Glenn has, we're in week 7 right now. At least he has, I don't know if the Jets have had their bye yet, but at least you have 6 or 7 weeks of evidence on that versus the 2 that you have on McCarthy. So let's slow down here on calling McCarthy a bust. If he still looks like this and he's played every game at this point next year, then that's a discussion. That's a legitimate discussion to have. But again, he has to play. And if it depends on how much he's playing too in the next week, because then we can have a discussion on if he's injury prone at this point next year. So at this point next year, in let's see, what's the date today? It's the whatever the day is, the 20th. October 20th of 2027 or 2026. If by then McCarthy isn't like a solid, top, we'll call it top 20 quarterback in the NFL. He doesn't even need to be like a top 15, top 10, top 5 quarterback. If he's not in the top 20 by this time next year, then we can start having a discussion. If he's not in the top 25 of best quarterbacks by this time next year with how good this roster is, that is very, very concerning. But right now, I'm not willing to say that. I still have belief in him that he will turn out to be at least an average starting quarterback in this league. At least. So let's pump the brakes on the McCarthy is a bust talk at this point. So they do go to the Chargers on Thursday Night Football in a couple days from now. They are 2.5-point underdogs. The overall record against the Chargers is 8-7. They are 3-1 in their last 4 games against the Chargers. Their last game was a 28-24 loss to the Chargers a couple seasons ago. That was in their, I believe, 0-3 beginning, 0-4 start to the season in the Kirk's last year in Minnesota. KOC's second year in Minnesota. So we've got some predictions on that game. Again, I do think McCarthy absolutely needs to start in that game on the road. Again, I know it's a short week. I know it's on the road. I know it's his old head coach. I still think he needs to start that game. Because I don't think you're going to start him against the Lions. That's not much better. Yes, it's 10 days, but the Lions still have a good defense. You got Aiden Hutchinson on that defensive line. And we've seen like what psychos their secondary is. I'm sorry, that's alleged. It's with a little bit of a joke there. But I'd rather have him start against the Chargers right now just so we can get the ball rolling at least. But yeah, in terms of predictions, we had 5 come off the board here. Said the Vikings will beat the Eagles. They did not. I said the Vikings will cover the 2.5-point spread. They did not. The defense allows less than 200 passing yards. The Eagles were not passing that well, so I thought that would happen. And that's the game they decided to turn it around. Hurts obviously had over 300 passing yards. So said McCarthy doesn't play against the Eagles, which he did not. And the Vikings have 250 plus passing yards. Wentz had over 300. So that is correct. So that brings it up to 32 of 89 for 36%. 3 predictions coming on the board today is the Vikings will not cover the 2.5-point spread. So they will lose by more than 2.5 points. McCarthy will play in this game against the Chargers, and he will take at least 3 sacks. And Will Reichert will continue his dominance. I'm going to call it a perfect season, and he will be perfect on field goals against the Chargers. Well, the ice is on fire as we move on to the Rinkside Rundown. The Wild are currently 2-3-1 on the year. They have 5 points. They are 8th in the Central Division. They are 11th, tied for 11th in the Western Conference. They have 2.67 goals for per game, which is tied for 22nd. Goals against per game is 3.67, so 1 full goal more they are giving up than they are scoring, and that is 27th in the NHL, and that is also the number 1 team would have the least amount of goals against per game. So it is 5th from the worst team in terms of goals against per game. Shutouts, they have 1, tied for 2nd. That was Gus Bus in the season opener. The power play looks like the only good thing about this team right now. They are clipping at a 38.5% rate, which is number 1 in the NHL. The penalty kill is right back to where they were last year at 26. They are 70.6%. Face-offs are 47.7%. It is tied for 23rd. Shots per game, they are 16th at 28.3. And then shots against per game is 30.5, which is 25th. We're going to do, now that the Wild actually have two goalies that they seem like they're going to be playing a decent amount, we'll go over both of their rankings. So Gus Bus is 1-3-0 on the season. His save percentage is .888, which is 35th out of all of the goalies in the NHL. The goals against is 3.56, which is 45th in the NHL. And yes, if you're doing the math correctly, there are only 32 teams in the NHL. So there are well over the amount of starting goalies in the league that have better numbers than Gus this year. So he's also then as a shutout, which is tied for first. But on the other side, Jesper Wallstedt is 1-0-1 on the season. His save percentage is .909, which is tied for 25th. His goals against average is 2.35, which is tied for 20th. He doesn't have a shutout this year. Again, team has one, Gus has one. So a great Vol has 0 shutouts on the season. He did play in the game against the Kings. The Wild did get that win. That was a 4-3 shootout win. The Wild were up 3-0 after one. The Kings scored 3 goals in the third period to tie it. I thought Wallstedt, again, it was not his fault that they scored 3 goals. I thought the team was kind of breaking down in front of him. I thought Wallstedt played unbelievably well in overtime. Especially the Wild had a penalty in overtime, so they were on the kill. And so he absolutely stepped up massively in overtime after Spurgeon, Kirill, and Boldy scored in the first. And Rossi ended up getting the shootout goal against Darcy Kemper, former Wild goalie, and just was not a great all-around third period. Again, not blaming Wallstedt for that blown 3-0 lead in the third period. The next game they played the next night in Dallas. They played the Stars, and they always seem to play poorly in Dallas. They lost 5-2. Kirill did have 1 goal, 1 assist for 6 shots. Boldy had a goal on 10 shots. I think Kirill and Boldy so far this year have been by far and away their 2 best players. Obviously, Kirill is going to be their best player whenever he is healthy. But I think Boldy has been by far and away their second best player on this team. Like he has stepped up mass. Now I want him to do this consistently, and I want him to perform this well all the time. He can't do his like streakiness that he was doing last year. But Gus was 20 of 23. And then the Stars did have 5 different goal scorers on the night. Jake Ottinger played well too. He was 39 of 41. So the Stars just seem to have the Wild's number in Dallas. So the Wild lose that one 5-2. They then go to Washington, and they played in Washington. They lost 5-1. As Dylan Strome just went off and absolutely lit up the Gus Bus. He had 2 goals, 2 assists on 6 shots. Ovi had 1 goal, 1 assist. And then Logan Thompson stopped 13 out of 14 shots, while Gus stopped 40 out of 45. Not complete, like Gus did have a pretty bad game, but the Wild only had 6 shots through 2 periods that night. Like, that is completely unacceptable. Just an overall just horrible game at both ends of the rink. Again, another back-to-back game. They played Friday night, then they played Saturday at Philadelphia. They lost 2-1 in overtime. I thought Jesper Wallstedt played pretty well. He was 20 of 21. 19 of 21, excuse me. I mistyped that in my notes. He was 19 of 21. Dan Vladder went 15 of 16. Vladimir Tarasenko scored his first goal with the Wild, who's, again, Vladimir Tarasenko has looked completely awful this year. And he should not be the second line winger at this point. I think they need to make some lineup changes. They're not going to because it's John Hines, but they absolutely need to make lineup changes at this point. Owen Tippett scored the goal to tie it in the third period, and then Noah Cates scored to win it in overtime. Again, not going to blame Jesper Wallstedt on that one. He played very well. I thought the 2 games he has played, he has looked very, very good. They play 3 games. They play tonight, if you're watching this on the day that I am uploading it. They play tonight, Monday the 20th, and then they play Wednesday night on the 22nd at 6 p.m. in New Jersey. Sorry, they play the Ranger in New York against the Rangers tonight. They play in New Jersey against the Devils on Wednesday night, and then they play against the Utah Mammoth at home on Saturday the 25th at 5 p.m., and that was followed up by another back-to-back against the San Jose Sharks at home at 5 p.m. on Sunday the 26th. The power play, I do want to get into this a little bit. Power play brings up some concerns. Now, you might be thinking, why? It's operating at what did I say, like 35 or 38.5%, I think is what it was. 38.5% is number 1 in the NHL. They have 10 power play goals so far. That is number 1 in the NHL in terms of percentage and in terms of just straight up goals that they have scored on the power play. Number 1 in both categories. They only have 16 goals total. They only have 6 5-on-5 goals. I'm pretty sure 4 of those 6 5-on-5 goals came in that first game against St. Louis where they won 5-0. That is unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable. They need to start scoring 5-on-5. You can't rely on your power play if you want to actually succeed in this league, if you want to make the playoffs. And if you do make the playoffs, if you want to go in a deep playoff run. Only 6 5v5 goals is absolutely unacceptable. So they need something. And this is where I wish John Hines would actually make changes, because how can it get any worse at this point? It can't. It can't get worse. Make lineup changes. See, the only 2 people that should be together, and that should be guaranteed together are Boldy and Kaprizov. Those are the only 2 that should be guaranteed time together because they're actually playing very, very well together. You need to change up your defense too. Everything needs to change. Faber doesn't look like he's playing well. Why not give the younger guys a chance? This is the same thing with McCarthy. He can't look worse than Wentz. The younger guys can't look worse than the vets out here. They need something to change. That might be the title of this one. The Wild need something to change 5-on-5. They can't keep doing this. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, the exact same way, and expecting different results. You can do the same thing over and over again, but if you change it, that's not insanity. What they are doing is insane. It's the definition of insanity. They are putting out the same lineup, same 5-on-5 lineup, expecting different results, and nothing is changing. Nothing's changing. Nothing's going to change. It is so frustrating to sit and watch a game and have these 5-on-5 results. It's so frustrating. It's getting to the point where it's almost unwatchable. It is unwatchable at this point. Some of us are insane, though, and we watch it. There's a million other things I could be doing. I'd rather go watch my brother play. And I do. So this absolutely needs to change from the Wild. And hopefully it starts tonight in New York against the Rangers. It has to. It has to start today. Can't start on Wednesday against the Devils. It has to start right now. Has to. Or else this season is they're not going anywhere. Might as well tank for Gavin McKenna at this point. I don't think they should tank for Gavin McKenna right now. I still think they have a chance to actually do something in the playoff, like compete for a playoff spot. That was a way more entertaining season than losing, and tanking for Gavin McKenna. But if this doesn't change, there's no point in trying to go for a playoff spot. I just hope that Bill Guerin, if he can actually read the tea leaves at like the trade deadline or something, and just doesn't make like a super drastic move if things aren't going to turn out super well. But at least Minnesota has 2 hockey teams, and one can actually win. Because they've had 2 years of existence, and the Frost have 2 Walter Cups. Speaking of the Frost, the training camp roster was announced. So training camp is right around the corner of an actual winning hockey team here in the Twin Cities. They've got 16 forwards, 16 forwards, 9 defense, and 3 goalies on their training camp roster. They're probably going to take Matty Rooney and Nicole Hensley again as their 2 goalies that suit up every day. But we will keep you updated on any roster moves from the Frost as their training camp gets underway here. Moving on to predictions. Had 3 come off the board. Said the Wild get at least 5 points in their next 4 games. They got 3 points in those 4 games. Said Kirill scores 3 goals in the next 4 games. He scored 2 goals in those 4 games. I said Wallstedt will win his first start of the season, and he did. He got credit for the win in the shootout against the Kings. Got 3 predictions coming on the board here. I said the Wild will beat the Mammoth in that game back home here on Saturday. The Wild will beat the Mammoth. At the end of the season, Wallstedt will have a better point percentage than Gustafsson will this year. So in terms of the games he has played, the team will have a higher percentage of points acquired in those games. And then I said the Wild will beat the Rangers and the Devils. So if they go on a 3-game winning streak, I get at least 2 right from today's predictions. All right, finishing up here with the power ranking segment, the final segment of today's show. For everyone that is new, the power ranking segment is a segment we do at the end of every episode where we take a Minnesota sports topic and rank it 1 to 10, whatever it is in that category. If you have an idea for a power rankings topic, make sure it is Minnesota sports related, and make sure it is family friendly. Leave it down in the comments down below, or email me at frozennorth30@gmail.com, and I will rank that topic. It could be next. This topic is the top 10 duos in Minnesota sports history. So this is ranked both on their performance together and based off of the bromance part of it too. So number 10, coming in here at number 10, helped the Twins win the 91 World Series is Jack Morris and Kevin Tapani. Again, both of them just bulldogs in that starting rotation for the Twins in 91. At number 9, cornerstones of the Purple People Eaters defense. We've got Carl Eller and Alan Page. Again, that Purple People Eaters meet at the quarterback defense. Yeah, again, massive part of that early Vikings success. Those two were. Number 8, again, two early success of the Twins franchise. We've got Harmon Killebrew and Tony Oliva. Number 7, again, in a similar vein, but a little bit later, actually led the Twins to 2 World Series. Kent Herbeck and Kirby Puckett. Then coming in at number 6, the only, as I'm looking at my list here, the only active duo together and the only duo that is on ice, we have Kirill Kaprizov and Mats Zuccarello. Again, this one was carried heavily more by the bromance part of it, but their lack of playoff success meant that I couldn't put them really any higher than number 6. So that is 10 through 6, and we can go over those once again here. 10 through 6, the 6 through 10. Number 10 being Jack Morris and Kevin Tapani. Number 9 being Carl Eller and Alan Page. Number 8, Harmon Killebrew and Tony O. Number 7, Kent Herbeck and Kirby Puckett. And number 6, Kirill Kaprizov and Mats Zuccarello. At number 5, we've got Kevin Garnett and Sam Cassell. Massive part, again, of that early Timberwolves success, that when they were actually having success in the early 2000s. Number 4, the first of 2 straight receiver duos here. Number 4, we've got Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Again, massive part of the Vikings late 2010s success before Diggs got traded. Number 3, the other wide receiver duo being Randy Moss and Chris Carter. Again, thought they had more success as a duo together, put up better numbers. Number 2, our only player-coach relationship on this list, but number 2 is Kevin Garnett and Flip Saunders. Just being that kind of father-son, the mentor-mentee role for a young Kevin Garnett with Flip Saunders. And then they reunited later at the end of Kevin Garnett's career when he came back to Minnesota. And number 1, the only one with an actual specific nickname for the two, it's the Eminem brothers, the Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau. All right, that'll do it here for episode 42 of the 301 show. I really hope you enjoyed. Again, leave a like on the video. Helps YouTube push it out to other people. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below where you agree with me, disagree with me, maybe bring up a topic for power rankings, whatever you want. Leave it down below, and we will see you next time. Peace.